when God first gave me this little inkling to start this group, which is now, well, almost exactly 3 years ago, the word or the sentence I heard him speak was, wives can esteem their husbands to greatness. And it was kind of like not even probably proper grammar or anything. I don't know. It didn't even make any sense. Esteem your husband to greatness. But it was just like he just planted that phrase in my mind, and I caught the vision of it, because it really is that Ephesians 5:33 verse, that the wife must respect her husband. Now, let's talk about respect, because it is often viewed as a feeling. In my first marriage, yes, I've been married 14 months. This is my second marriage. In my first marriage, I remember telling girlfriends, I can't respect him, and I don't respect him. And some of you might have said the same thing. I don't respect him. How could I respect that? How could I respect that? Almost viewing respect as a feeling. Like I've got to feel this bubbling up respect thing before I can actually display it. But I don't think it's so much a feeling as a decision. Respect is a decision. And I've given this analogy before, and let's just do it again. If the president walked into the room, any president, doesn't have to be the current one, and let's say you didn't vote for that particular president, you didn't like his policies, you thought he was a complete moron, you're just like, oh, I can't stand anything he does. Still, if he walked in tonight, whatever president, I'm not trying to pick a particular one, if he walked in tonight, I think I would hope that we would all act respectfully and polite and say, so glad you're here, can I get you a cup of coffee? He would have our attention, right? Because he's the president. Or if the king walked in, or Prince Henry or whatever, we would probably, again, give a certain level of respect. Now, would we feel that way necessarily? Especially if we didn't agree with their policies? No. But we would do it as a decision to act respectfully. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're going to really unpack tonight, is acting and voicing respect, whether you feel like it or not, and how this transforms a marriage. So let's look at what happens when we don't esteem or respect our husbands. What happens when we don't esteem or respect our husbands? They often shut down and disengage from their mates. Most men very much fear being a failure. They fear disappointing their wives. And when it comes to relationships, I've used this analogy before, they're kind of like turtles, men. They have like this hard shell, and have you ever seen a turtle and they just kind of withdraw and their whole head's underneath the turtle shell? It's kind of like men, because they just fear failure. And especially in relationships, they kind of know intuitively that we tend to be better at relationships. Women are more feelers and can empathize better usually. And so they already feel like they can't really do the relationship thing as best as we can, as well as we can. And so they've got their little head tucked underneath their protective shell, and every once in a while they kind of like slip it out there to see if maybe they could do something right in the relationship. And what do they encounter? Some kind of disrespect by their wife. We roll our eyes, we like, oh brother, not that again, or whatever thing we do that just is kind of demeaning. And guess what happens? Right back underneath the shell. And there they stay. And then we're like going to all our girlfriends, my husband is shut down emotionally, I don't know what his problem is, but we've been part of the problem, because our disrespect can cause them to live under that protective shell where it seems safer. It's just safer not to play. I'll just stay out here, in my garage, or in my nothing box, or I'm playing video games all day long, because it's just kind of safer here than when I try to stick my head out and maybe engage with my wife and she treats me disrespectfully. It might take you months or even years to win them back where they feel safe to venture out from behind that shell again, because they got crushed. Have you guys seen have you seen that at all?
Yeah.
That it takes time to be safe enough with them that they're willing to kind of play again,
No matter what you do, they just assume that
because
you're
they've been burned.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens conversely when we do show respect to our men? Well, great things happen. A wife's respect, I think I have this on the outline here. A wife's respect nourishes her husband's parched confidence so that he has the courage to press into becoming a greater husband, dad, and disciple of Jesus.